Well, my name is Kathy Escamilla, and I am a professor in the Division of Educational Equity and Cultural Diversity at the University of Colorado at Boulder. Well, I have the same research interests that I've really had for 30 years, but it's taken a slightly different direction in the last decade. I've always been interested in issues with regard to Spanish-speaking children in elementary schools in the United States and how they learn English, but more importantly, what are their opportunities to become bilingual and biliterate. And the last 10 years, the research has taken a slightly different focus because in prior years, the majority of children who were Spanish-speaking in U.S. elementary schools were born in other countries and came to the U.S. as monolinguals. Now, 67% of this population is born in the U.S., and they begin to hear English from the time that they're born. Frequently, they go to preschools where English is the medium of instruction. And so when they enter schools as simultaneous bilinguals, knowing some Spanish and some English, which presents to the educational establishment a different opportunity to teach children to be biliterate. However, most of our educational paradigms are based on old notions that kids need to learn in Spanish only first, followed by English. Now we need to figure out ways to teach Spanish and English concurrently. I think the work is important for all kinds of reasons. Number one, because we haven't had a whole lot of success educationally with the particular population of kids I'm interested in, simultaneous bilingual kids. Number two, because our country desperately needs for these children not only to get a good education, but to end up being bilingual and biliterate. It's vital to many of our economic and national interests. And number three, because they're vastly becoming the majority school population, and we owe it to them and to us the best that we can provide in terms of opportunities to learn. My research right now, what I've been involved in and what I want to continue to be involved in is a program for young kids in elementary schools called paired literacy instruction, where they are learning to read in Spanish and English at the same time. We're not calling it concurrent because that's an old and disproven method for teaching kids. We're calling it paired, meaning they're learning to read in both languages, and we're capitalizing on the strengths that they bring to school to develop a literacy model. Well, I see the policy implications as being huge. What we see is the more diverse our population has become in the United States, the more monocultural and monolingual and homogeneous our policy views are. So the idea that all we need to do is to teach this population of kids English and they'll be fine is pervasive in a lot of policies across many of our states. First of all, we know it hasn't been successful with kids, but secondly, we're not capitalizing on a potential national resource, which is the first languages that the kids speak when they come to school. What drives me are the children and their families. I see these wonderful families who want the best for their children and have a lot of confidence in the school. And in some cases, I'm not sure that their confidence is well placed. So it drives me to say there are benefits for your children in becoming bilingual. Now, the school also has an obligation to make sure your child learns English and learns English well. So I think we have a lot of work to do with communities and parents and children, and the children are great and they're fun and they inspire us in a lot of ways.